Hello everyone, today we're going to talk about the topic of Bitcoin exchange-traded funds in the United States. Now first, let's explain in very simple terms what are exchange-traded funds. And just as their name actually says, exchange-traded funds or ETFs are share units of a fund that are traded in the secondary markets like on exchanges. And those ETFs are highly liquid instruments where people around the world can easily buy or sell those ETFs and get exposure to the assets that are actually in that exchange-traded funds. Now, since the invention of ETFs, they have had a big success, and today some of the largest ETFs in the world in fact track indices that represent the global or the bigger market in certain countries like United States. So for instance, one of the largest ETFs globally and one of the most liquid ETFs globally is actually an ETF that tracks the S&P 500 index, which actually tracks or represents 500 most valuable companies in the United States. There have been actually quite a strong effort in the United States to launch an exchange-traded fund which underlying assets would be actually Bitcoins. And the reason why that would be highly important both for the financial industry but also for the crypto industry, because a wide spectrum of potential investors could easily get exposure to Bitcoin through an ETF that's highly liquid and easily tradable. So far, the regulator in the United States, the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, has actually in fact denied approval to launch Bitcoin ETF. The reason that they stated for lack of approval or rejection of an initiative to launch Bitcoin ETFs is market integrity. The regulator in the United States is concerned with the exchanges and trading venues around the world where Bitcoin is actually traded, and which prices would be then used for the ETF in the United States as a pricing mechanism, how the price evolves actually. A lot of industry participants, be that exchanges, market makers, or big investors, have been putting a lot of effort to demonstrate that exchanges around the world are actually safe and secure and can actually be used as a reference price and a reference point for an ETF, Bitcoin ETF, that will be traded in the traditional markets. Now, this might seem like a very sad story in a sense that the efforts were denied and the approval has not been yet made. But actually, there was somebody who really benefited from this evolvement of events, and this is the Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust. Grayscale is a big asset manager in the United States that actually launched a trust quite a few years ago, and this trust contains Bitcoin as assets. And this trust allows certain class of market participants to get exposure to Bitcoin by purchasing that trust through a broker in an over-the-counter transaction. And Grayscale therefore has experienced tremendous growth because this is one of the few ways certain investors can get exposure to the Bitcoin as an asset class and to Bitcoin price. Now going forward, we are actually quite confident that over time our industry will strengthen and that the US regulator at one point will approve the launch of Bitcoin ETF. Now, if we look around the world in different jurisdictions and different countries, there's a lot of products that have already been approved which allow investors to get exposure to Bitcoin prices. And we are confident that as our industry strengthens, as our industry grows, one day the regulator in US will also approve the launch of Bitcoin ETF, not only in US, but also around the globe over time. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video and wishing everyone to stay liquid and hydrated.